We all know some talented people. Some people are good at drawing or painting, singing, dancing, acting, playing a musical instrument, things we call creative. Maybe you're good at one or more of these areas. I'm sure that, like me, you've watched or read interviews with famous persons who made you uncomfortable with how much ego they showed. That person might have been a talented athlete or singer or actress, but you knew that this person was at the center of his or her world. Let's not be too quick to point the finger at celebrities, however. Haven't we all done the same thing at one time or another? Don't we like to take credit whenever we can?
I remember one time in particular actually delivering a sermon at a local church where I got to the end of the sermon and had this big closing that I wanted to use, and I preach off of outline notes. And when I got to that juncture, I flipped over the page and my closing notes weren't there. I still don't know today what happened to that piece of paper, but it was gone. And so for a brief moment, my mind went blank and I panicked because I didn't know what I was going to say. So it was at that juncture that I pulled the stool up, I sat down very casually, and I spent the next 10 minutes and I just told a story from my own life with the congregation. When the sermon ended, as we all do, that ego kicks in, and part of me kept thinking to myself, this was just terrible because I had fumbled over my words, I wasn't organized, I was just telling them a story from the heart. But as I looked out in the first 3-4 rows of people, I saw like 5 or 6 people who were crying. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of that. But at the end of the service, after we had prayed and after we had sung a closing song, I had a line of people coming up to me who were sharing not so much what I had said, but how God had really convicted them of the same thing I had shared in my story. And so what that taught me, both in delivering sermons, in teaching classes, leading workshops, is that it's when you're able to take what God has given you, but work it through your heart, that God's going to make it matter to people. It's not how polished you are, it's not how smart you sound, it's allowing God to work through that. And so if you had asked me right away, I would have told you it's probably one of the lousiest sermons I ever delivered. But at the end of it, and seeing how God worked with the people, is probably one of the most powerful.